My life a tangled epic I never dreamed I'd narrate, has twisted into shapes I no longer recognize. At 47, a night shift nurse in the town of Riverbend with a divorce etched into my past, and a teenage son Ethan by my side, my existence often felt like a relentless current. But one night, under the disorienting haze of exhaustion, loneliness, and a hotel room's anonymity, a single whispered word from my son shattered every known boundary, plunging us both into a thrilling, horrifying abyss. How does one moment, one catastrophic choice derail an entire life? If you've ever felt a secret so heavy it threatened to crush you, hit that like button, subscribe for more explorations into the shadows of human experience. And tell me in the comments, what are the lines we think we'd never cross? The graveyard shift was my nightly battlefield, each hour a testament to human fragility, stretching my compassion thin. Exhaustion was a constant companion seeping into my bones, blurring the edges of my off-duty life, until it felt like a monotonous loop, work, home, fractured, sleep, repeat. Yet even in this grueling rhythm, a strange solace had found me bowling. It sounds almost comically mundane, a throwback to a gentler era, but it became my lifeline. I joined a local league on a whim last year, a way to splinter the solitude. To my utter shock, I wasn't just competent. I was good. Good enough to qualify for an official tournament a 3-hour drive away, a beacon I'd practiced months for. It felt like reclaiming a vibrant piece of myself, a forgotten melody from before the divorce. But life, especially with a rebellious teenager like Ethan, rarely offers unmarred joy. The last time I'd left him unsupervised, a well-meaning friend had managed to wreak havoc on our garage. Determined to avoid a repeat with the tournament looming, I'd made a plan a weekend for 2 at a hotel near the venue, complete with an indoor pool, a small bribe, a moment of shared escape. That tournament morning, I rose before dawn. After a quiet stretch, I gently roused Ethan. He was a tangle of limbs under the hotel covers, reluctant. Breakfast. I'd coaxed, then adventure. The magic word pancakes finally stirred him. We navigated the hotel's buffet, a familiar landscape of syrup-drenched delights, omelets, and crispy bacon. Ethan piled his plate high, a fleeting glimpse of the simpler boy he once was. I opted for something more sensible. A comfortable silence settled between us, a rare pocket of normalcy. Afterwards, his eyes lit up at the mention of a nearby mall, a specialty game store holding a long-coveted treasure. The prospect of this small quest brought a spark to his face, a shared blip of excitement in our often parallel lives. These stolen moments, between the relentless demands of work, the fleeting triumphs at the alley, these quiet shared breakfasts, were the sutures holding me together. Driving to the tournament each mile felt like a step towards reclaiming a part of myself that wasn't just a nurse, a mother, but a woman with passions. The tournament itself became a blur of highs and lows. I always thought sharing my personal struggles was a door I'd keep locked, but that day was a microcosm of my life's chaotic beauty. It began with that trip to the mall. Ethan, usually so reserved, had been dreaming of a specific game. We plunged into the weekend afternoon throng, our destination GameStop. His eyes when he found an old used copy of the game, priced at nearly $60, shone with an intensity that ambushed my frugal resolve. That smile so pure, so rare. With a sigh that was part resignation, part a mother's undeniable yearning to provide joy, I paid. The glow in his eyes was my reward. We wandered the mall for hours after window shopping, observing a comfortable rhythm settling between us, reminiscent of easier years before the barricades of adolescence had fully risen. It was precious, that uninterrupted time. Later that evening, I returned to the bowling alley for the tournament's final rounds, buoyed by the connection with Ethan. I felt rested ready, but the day's emotional roller coaster combined with chronic fatigue took its toll. I slipped from a promising second place to finish fifth. A hard blow. Frustration gnawed, but I reminded myself that setbacks are just detours. My league colleague Chloe clinched the victory. Her triumph born of dedication was a shared joy. Afterwards, a group of us, exhilarated and weary, decided to celebrate at a small bar conveniently across from our hotel. Laughter, shared stories, clinking glasses. I let myself unwind. Though usually cautious tonight, I indulged in more than one glass of wine, surrendering to the lighthearted camaraderie. What is it about the cocktail of exhaustion, alcohol, and emotional vulnerability that can so thoroughly dismantle our carefully constructed defenses? If you're finding yourself drawn into Laura's precarious journey, show some support by hitting that like button and subscribing. We all face moments that test our limits. What helps you navigate them? Share your thoughts below. Around 1 a.m., I made my way back. Ethan was asleep, the TV casting a soft, flickering glow on his peaceful face. A wave of profound maternal love washed over me. I changed into pajamas, settled into my own bed, and tried to focus on a muted movie. Sleep, however, remained elusive. My mind replayed the day at the mall, the game, the bowling alley's roller coaster, the brief, joyful celebration. Around 3 a.m., Ethan stirred. I leaned over, checking on him. The rhythmic rise and fall of his blanket, the quiet sounds of his sleep. Small affirmations of our life. A profound mix of gratitude and introspection, not loneliness, filled me. I thought of the demanding shifts, the weight of responsibility, the stresses that make one vulnerable, but also those undeniable moments of tenderness. His smile, our shared hours, the quiet breakfasts. These were the anchors. My son, his happiness, his resilience, he was my why. Then came the shift, the subtle crack in the foundation of reality. Kept wondering, is he ever going to... 1. I thought the thought slithering in unbidden. Was it the wine? The deep, aching loneliness I so often suppressed. I couldn't fight it anymore. Do you need any help with that? The words were out, a shocking, clumsy blur. If he said no, I could pretend I was dreaming, talking in my sleep. But the air crackled when he whispered, yes. That single syllable hung a stark, undeniable truth. A switch flipped. Barriers shattered. The shoulds and should nots evaporated, replaced by a horrifying, compelling sense of inevitability. It was like watching myself from outside, a detached spectator to my own life's implosion. My legs felt numb as I walked towards his bed, the room bathed in the TV's eerie glow shadows dancing like grotesque omens. My heart hammered a frantic drum against the suffocating silence. The heat from his body was a palpable force drawing me in. I hesitated, my hand hovering over his blanket, a silent, terrible question. Then slowly, deliberately, I pulled it down. Just enough. He lay there, eyes wide, a mixture of surprise and something else. Something unreadable. His hand was still occupied. A silent testament. I just stared, trying to reconcile this stranger with the son I knew. It was a dizzying blend of the familiar and the terrifyingly unknown, the lines between mother and something else blurring, then obliterating. An almost irresistible urge, a dark magnetism pulled me. My fingers trembled as I gently took his hand away. His skin, warm, slightly damp, sent a jolt through me. "Let me help you with that," I whispered, my voice a ghost of itself. My gaze traced him, the boy becoming man, familiar and yet appallingly new. I saw the evidence of his arousal. I moved closer, the air thick with unspoken, forbidden desires. My own hand began to move, tracing slow, deliberate patterns. The contrast of soft and firm was intoxicating. My breath quickened my body, responding with a traitorous life of its own. I saw the glistening pearl at the tip. I leaned in, my tongue darting out. A salty tang, a jolt of illicit electricity. He gasped. "Do you want me to?" I whispered, voice husky with a desire I hadn't known I possessed. He nodded, eyes locked on mine, a silent, desperate plea. I lowered my head. My lips brushed his skin. Heat. I encompassed him. The taste, the texture, a shiver of profane pleasure. His hands were in my hair, a gentle pull. "If you pull," I rasped, "you might like what happens." He pulled slightly. A renewed surge. Harder. He did. I squeezed in return. Overwhelming sensations. Pleasure, guilt, desire, shame. A storm tossing me forces beyond any control I once had. I felt him tense, shudder release. A surge of warmth, a taste both intimate and deeply taboo. Afterwards, a stunned, suffocating silence. We lay there, limbs entangled, breaths mingling the air thick with the unbearable weight of our shared transgression. "We can't make a habit of this." I finally said the words, hollow a lie I already knew I couldn't keep. We tried to talk, to make sense of the senseless, but words failed. The emotions were too raw, too tangled. Then, as if pulled by an invisible, malevolent tide, we found ourselves drawn back. "Desire a wildfire?" he asked again. I couldn't refuse. The guilt was a nagging whisper drowned out by the roaring inferno of this new, terrifying need. Oh my God, I thought, he's ready again. Was it a good idea? My mind raced lines, blurring right and wrong, dissolving into a meaningless haze. We were caught a secret that would bind us in its dark, intricate web forever. So there we were, the air heavy with what we'd done. I knew it was wrong, morally, ethically, in every conceivable way, but the guilt, that crushing weight, was fleeting. It crashed in waves, then receded, leaving behind a strange, unsettling anticipation. This can't happen again, I'd tell myself. But the lines hadn't just blurred, they'd been erased. And the more I thought about it, the more a horrifying part of me didn't want to redraw them. It was a dark secret, a forbidden thrill pulsing beneath the mundane. The shame was there lurking, but overshadowed by a strange, addictive sense of power, of shared illicit discovery. I knew with a chilling certainty this wasn't the end. It was a beginning. Something different, complicated, dangerous, thrilling. My mind began to race with other possibilities, other ways to explore this terrifying new dynamic, new ways to break every rule. Naughty ideas, heart-racing, skin-tingling ideas that made me question the very core of who I thought I was. What if we did this again somewhere else? What if we pushed even further? The original story asks a direct question here about what you would do. It's a question that hangs heavy, isn't it? When the unthinkable happens, when lines are not just crossed, but obliterated, how does one even begin to process it? The journey into such forbidden territory is a lonely, terrifying one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more narratives that delve into the hidden corners of human experience. To cross a line, especially one so sacrosanct, is to step into an entirely different reality. The moral compass, once so steady, can spin wildly its needle, searching for a true north that no longer exists. What begins as a moment of weakness, a surrender to a dark impulse, can become a labyrinth of secrecy and self-deception, where each turn leads deeper into the shadows. The self you thought you knew can fragment, replaced by a stranger driven by compulsions that defy all reason. And the most terrifying part, sometimes the way back is lost, and the only path forward is further into the darkness, bound by a secret that consumes everything in its path.